how do those moments of clarity come? What is it that you have to do to your physical, your energy body for you to be able to have those moments of clarity, to be able to see things in their real perception? A lot of people may say, I'm interested in yoga, I'm not interested in being able to sit for meditations. I'm not interested in practicing hours of dhyan, dharana, pranayamas. I just want a very sharp intellect. And I want focus and I want clarity. And then yoga becomes relevant for people like you and me.
Who was Minnie before yoga?
Dissimilar, but still very similar to what I did.
Any one focal point that you can think of that made you move to the practice of yoga and you felt this is what I want to do for the rest of my life?
My complete and utter embarrassment when I took my first yoga class and I thought I was fit.
So yoga essentially, as per what I'm understanding, is first detoxify before you even build anything further on it.
Absolutely. You take care of the...
What's the discipline planner / rubric that you have for yourself?
Discipline is something that...
Through the science of yoga and having trained your mind, how has it made you a better parent and your relationship with your kids?
It's not...
What should women really be concentrating on?
According to Ayurveda and yoga, we have these...
Most of our audience is going through some sort of a hot flash. What is the best yoga mudra or asana which we can start at least practicing?
A simple thing that I'll say is...
What's something that your children taught you that yoga never could?
They taught me it's... So headstand, shoulder stand, game changer. Looking at the sun in the morning, game changer.
The sun. That headache, that remnant headache, it just disappeared. Because it almost was like my body understood it doesn't matter if you had lack of sleep the night before, but the sun is up, freshen up.
Yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of Kin and Kindness. Kin and Kindness is a podcast where we invite guests and have really good conversations with them. Today's conversation is not really about ambition, money, success. Yes, all of that will of course come in. Today's conversation is about what we are all seeking for, which is the inner peace and balance. And who better than today's guest to have this conversation with, which is Mini Shastri, one of India's best, or I should not even use the word one, India's best yoga practitioner and teacher who really has made yoga her way of life. Minnie, pleased to have you with us today in the house.
That's a very generous introduction, no such thing.
No, of course, Shubhani.
We are so excited that you're here. And we can't wait to get into the conversations with you.
I love talking about this subject that has held me captive for over 2 decades, and it still, manages to get me out of bed with excitement. And I live to share the transformative power of, yoga has managed to sort of, give all of us.
Yeah. Before we begin with yoga, who was Minnie before yoga entered her life? Just a little bit.
Okay. So if it's okay, I'll hold that thought for a moment and we'll start with a little invocation.
Yes, of course.
Sure.
A very simple mudra of joining the hands at your heart. Mudra that brings a beautiful communion between, two seeming dualities. Om Ganapataye Namaha. Om Saraswatye Namaha. Om Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. And release your hands on your knees. And keep your eyes closed if they are, or keep your eyes lowered. And feel the seat below you, beneath you that you're pressing down into. And feel your spine, torso lift from that base. And feel the softness inside as you sit tall on the outside. Bringing your mind's attention to your breath, inflow and outflow. Just your natural breath. Bring your mind's attention to your posture again, where your hands are, the weight of your legs, the weight of your bones of your lower body, the weight of the hips, and the length in the spine. Bring your mind's attention to your posture. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Thanks. So the Minnie that was before the yoga educator.
Yes, I think I have to ask the question again.
Yeah, feels like
Before
another
this
lifetime.
beautiful practice, you would still love to know who was Minnie before yoga came in.
Yeah, feels like another lifetime, but somehow dissimilar, but still very similar to what I did now. Is unfortunately I lost my coach's son, and my coach very recently, I think yesterday or day before, Jaspal Rana was my coach, and I was a shooter. I used to shoot .22 and air pistol, and I found that practice, when I said similar and dissimilar, because it was actually very meditative. And now that I think about it, one day I'd love to train shooters and work with, sports people who shoot, because
The focus.
I understand the breath, the nuances of the breath and the mind-body complex much better now. Although we had some wonderful coaches, Jaspal Rana's father was my coach. And it involved the mind, it involved working with the breath, it involved the physical body, it involved coordination. And it involves something that we often talk about, an underutilized practice called pratyahara, which is the fifth limb of yoga, where you draw your senses inward, where you block your eyes, ears, your sense organs from stimulus. And you start to, your mind, you start to practice in such a way that your mind sways less and less. And that starts to affect your score. Sure. Because you have this target which is 25 meters away, and the smallest fluctuation in your breath will tell on your score. And even that mindset,
even
how you
inhale
come
or
in,
an exhale at that time would matter, because if
A
you
lot.
exhale, then there would be a little bit of a shift.
and yet you can't hold your breath, because if you hold your breath, your body will tremble.
Yeah.
So and that's when I realized I love inward going practices. It was not something that I consciously looked out for, but I just loved zoning into my target. And my coach used to say, Jaspal Rana's father, that you can wear an eye patch if you want to just look at, you had to look at this, you had to
Tiny
look at
frame.
your rifle or your instrument or your gun with two prongs and the one in the center, and had to align. And there was a very little space between the two, and they couldn't move. And they had to be, and also they had to be aligned on top. And your breath, and it had to be just the right amount of time you were holding, because it was a relatively heavy gun, the .22, and it was fitted to my hand because my hand was smaller then, and it had to be, there was a lot of sawdust, and it was a German gun, but it had to be fitted to my grip. So it was a heavy gun. And I've had many rotator cuff injuries just lifting it, holding it, And so it taught me a little bit about mental fitness and concentration and dharana and pratyahara. That was my really first
Without even knowing about
lesson.
Yoga, so to speak.
Yes, and I was okay in my 20s to not go out at night because I had to reach the the shooting range, Tughlakabad. I think it still is. That's still where people practice. And I was okay with that because I think I realized that was my calling. I didn't know that yoga was all of that and more.
Yeah.
I used to lift weights in my 20s. I was really consistent with, I liked strong female bodies. So I had that aspect taken care of in terms of fitness. I was not a runner. I always just loved strength. And so that aspect of strength still comes into my yoga when I teach women, because I think Indian women especially don't have good upper body strength. And then there is this breath and the ability to draw your senses inward like a tortoise pulls in his legs, and you're in your shell, and you're that ekagrat, that one pointed feeling of you're not even looking at your score. And what was beautiful about shooting was the follow through. You were so tempted to see, oh my God, did I get an 8? Did I get a 9? Did I get a bullseye?
Yeah.
But you were not allowed, or not allowed meaning your correct form would be to follow through, to not be, just like the Gita, to just do what you can do and not be interested in
the result,
the fruit, just do your action. So it had all of that. Shootings are, I'm sure all of this, many sports are, involve a certain amount of psychology, golf, but shooting was the true testament of mind control.
That's amazing.
And breath control, yes. And then I think a little bit after that, when I had Gayatri is now 30, I started to then slow down, and I made a little range, a hand range in my house, so that I can take care of the child, pull my card in, change my card, pull my, just like a hand, handmade range, so I could continue my practice. But it slowed down a little bit, and I started to get interested in understanding. At that time, I had nobody I could share this with. That many years ago, I used to quietly go in, always 5 minutes late, to this Gita class in the Ramana Kendra. And that's when I started to understand, little things stayed with me. Is your mind can be your friend, or your mind can be your foe, or things started to stay with me. And I think at that time I just had questions that, is this it? Is this it? Is, traveling, shopping, getting ready, going out, having babies, is this it? Is there more to life than this? Is it, one fleeting moment of joy and happiness, and one fleeting moment of emotions, and this jumping mind? Am I going to live with this jumping mind all my life? And that's when I got interested in Gita. Yoga was nowhere in the picture. I thought I knew it all with my weights and so just that was me. There were little seeds, I think.
So
that's amazing.
Any one focal point that you can think of that made you move to the practice of yoga, and you felt this is what I want to do for the rest of my life?
My complete and utter embarrassment when I took my first yoga class, and I thought I was fit. I lifted heavy weights. I had great form. I would correct boys in the gym. If they came to me to help, I was there to help them with their flies, or their, their push-ups, or their, and so anyway, coming back to my first yoga class, it was very embarrassing because I non-stop would ask questions in the middle of asana. I was restless. I had never heard, it was a Shivananda class, I'd never heard a teacher speak in this even, beautiful tone in his voice. And I think if it was any other teacher, I probably would not have got interested in yoga, I may have a little bit later. But this teacher, his voice, his ability to shush me without reprimanding me, I learned a little bit about myself and how the rajasic restlessness and tension sits in our body. and how we normalize it.
Sure.
Yeah. And then and then inversions, back bends, being able to lie on your stomach and lift one leg. Flexibility was decent, was not so bad, so I didn't worry about that. But just the strength in my spinal column was just not that great, considering
your limbs, I mean, you'd
Yes,
worked out.
yes.
Your limbs were good,
Yeah.
but the back was not.
So just
to
doing
speak.
one sort of thing was not holistic enough for, an even understanding, because your body is so nuanced.
What
and-
exactly does yoga do? Like, it's not just the aesthetics, it's not just the flexibility. What do you really understand and can help explain the audience? What does yoga do for
Right.
the body, mind, and
All right. So, yes, yoga has a huge component of movement. It has a huge component of meditation, a huge component of flexibility, discipline, and all of that. But these are just little pieces and it's not the entire picture. So when you ask me that, I'm guessing you're asking, how does that all come together?
yes,
And what is the goal and the end product, and what stages are we at when you see an asana practice? Where does that stand in the fuller picture of yoga, right? I'm guessing that's your
Right.
question. I won't start with saying it's a spiritual practice. I'll eventually come to the fact that it is a spiritual practice, but yoga is ultimately the science of the mind. It is Ayurveda as the science of the body. Most people think that yoga is a science of the body because you're doing the jal netis and you're doing the Shat Kriyas, which are your cleansing practices. You're doing the Tratak, which is for the eyes, and so you think that it's all about the anatomy, the physical body. But yoga has cracked the code of understanding the mind. And some people think it's very mystical, the siddhis, and that's not the kind of yoga I do or I want to be interested in. I'm just happy with being able to do a few shoulder stands, headstands, some asanas, and just feeling awake and alive. Okay, fine, yes. But the true potential of yoga is essentially understanding tadadrishtu swarupe avishtanam, the goal of yoga, which essentially means you abide in your reality, in your true nature, to be able to catch glimpses of that somehow in your life, sometimes in the day or in your lifetime, to be able to understand that yoga is a practice of going inward and surrendering to and understanding that crystal mind that you are gifted with, that space which is so luminous and so still and crystal-like. So the mind, which is like the monkey mind or the mind that continuously wanders, because that's the definition of the mind.
Yeah.
The mind will just pull in information and continuously process. And the mind will always go from, joy to sensations or sensations from attachments to the senses, or habitual grooves that sort of decide a habit. But the mind also has the capacity to be completely still. It can be, the yogis have figured out that the mind can come to a complete standstill, crystal standstill, where clarity is, and we all at the end of the day pray for clarity, right?
definitely.
How do those moments of clarity come? What is it that you have to do to your physical, your energy body for you to be able to have those moments of clarity, to be able to see things in their real perception, you perceive things in their real as a reality, as you abide in the nature of the self, which is this, your consciousness. And so then yoga gave us a krama. Yoga gave us a methodology. And a lot of people may say, I'm interested in yoga. I'm not interested in being able to sit for meditations. I'm not interested in practicing hours of dhyan, dharana, pranayamas. I just want a very, how should I say, sharp intellect. Yes. And I want focus and I want clarity. And then yoga becomes relevant for people like you and me. Mm-hmm. So yoga gave us two methodologies. One, he gave us the Vedas or the books of Patanjali gave us a methodology of Kriya Yoga, of being able to break down the overactivity in the body, that rajas in the body, that tension that we hold, that sense of constant gripping, that sense of constantly, the word I'm looking for is to have that striving energy, where we're always leaning forward, what's next?
Yeah.
Even
yeah. You're always waiting to exhale.
Or
always on a
or
fight
something's
or flight.
waiting,
Yeah.
some crisis management. So we're in that striving energy, in that mode of grip all the time. Imagine what that must be doing to our nervous system and to our physical body, and then eventually to our organs, and then to the energy body. And so there is huge disturbances in the body.
Yeah.
And that's when disease festers.
Right.
So he gave us Kriya Yoga, where he said, I'll give you a method where you'll take care of purifying your body first. You'll take care of the detoxification in your nasal passages, in your sinuses, on your tongue, in your eyes, the impressions that we hold in the eyes, and the tension and the gripping in the muscles of the eyes. The eyes have some of the most incredible cranial nerves that attach to the brain that is, connected to our parasympathetic nervous system. So he gave us ways to cool the eyes, de-stress the eyes, take the toxins out of our tongue, our stomach, Shankha Prakshalan, which is a purge, a naturopathy purge. They gave us ways, Noli, to be able to, move the bile and the lymph in the stomach, to be able to digest. So you don't have a toxin overload in your body. He gave us that system first. I don't know if it's very popular or not, but it should be.
Yeah,
I think it's an unsung hero.
Yes.
I think we should be doing more of Nasyam. We should be doing more of Jalneti.
So what is, what is it
Kriyas.
called?
Shat Kriyas. 6 actions of cleansing.
Okay.
Tratak is one of them. How many of us do Tratak? It basically tells us, we have this epidemic or whatever the word is, endemic or whatever it's called, of heated and dry eyes. A lot of people tell me, I have dry and heated eyes. That's your toxins
accumulating in the eyes.
The heat in the eyes, because your photons are continuously hitting each other. And so the eyes are actually a part of our brain. It's a part of our brain that's got squished into the eye sockets. So 40% of the brain's work is done by the eyes. And this is deliberately done in a way that we can use eyes as a tool to work on the continuous influx of stimulus that goes and sits unprocessed. So basically, whatever we cannot eliminate or digest or process is a toxin burden. So Kriya Yoga said, you take care of the toxin overload in your system so that you can prepare your body for practices which are more, inward, antaranga sadhanas, practices that take you to quiet, practices that hold you, again, we're going back to tadadrashtu swarupe avishanam, to be able to see what is that voice of clarity within me that I can access, that is within me, that Shiva within me, that is continuously there, that I wear colored lenses on, that I can barely ever get glimpses of, and hope I can get glimpses of that at least once in my lifetime. So yoga gave us those Shat Kriyas. And I think we should be doing more of Shat Kriyas. They should be equally celebrated like asanas are. Ayurveda has oiling the ears, because the ears, when the senses degenerate, it affects your cognition. And that's how degeneration builds in the body. Shiriyate iti shariram. That is the definition of the human body. It will degenerate if left to itself. So yoga gave us methods of taking care of this constant degeneration of the sense organs, of holding toxins in the body. Kapalbhati, one of the Shat Kriyas.
Yes.
It's not a pranayam, but it should be done daily. And it awakens the diaphragm. It awakens the lazy diaphragm that most of us have, because where is the time to breathe into the bottom of the lungs? And it wakes up the primary breathing muscles of our intercostals. These are our primary breathing muscles. But we have this problem in living in cities, is we're breathing only in our our more like helper muscles, which are the muscles which are in our upper these are like ancillary breathing muscles. They're not supposed to do the heavy lifting. The heavy lifting is supposed to be done from the bottom of our lungs, where the maximum oxygenation happens, on the sides of the lungs. So to be able to make your trunk pliable, Kapalbhati. So he gave us Shat Kriya. How many of us wake up in the morning and do Kapalbhati and take that stuff out of our nose in the mornings? That'll always come out. The earlier you do it, the more stuff you'll release. So we go through the day holding these toxins, and then we have, obviously we'll get sinuses, or we'll have, problems with diseases about the throat. Nasyam, Ayurveda gave us Nasyam. Yoga gave us Shat Kriyas. Naturopathy gives us so many amazing ways to take the toxin overload out of the body. And so that was our first method.
Sorry.
Then
so yoga essentially, as per what I'm understanding, is first detoxify.
Absolutely.
Before you even build anything further on
Absolutely.
it. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. We are only trying to see what we are building, but we are not seeing that. No, first detoxify the whole, so that what you're building is actually
the wisdom of
for
subtraction. Yeah. We need to first subtract, and we need to eliminate. We need to strengthen our ability to eliminate. That's where exhale becomes so important.
And many people can't even, look at the advantage that you mentioned in terms of detoxification. For a lot of people, like Shubhani said, it's just a form of exercise and flexibility and toning your body, etc. But those are, I think, all byproducts of the practice, as I understand, because
I think yoga gave us a krama, Punya. It gave us a method. And it's the job of a yoga educator to know what method is it that Punya needs if I start yoga with him, versus what, based on your lifestyle, or your days, and what does Shubhani need. And so just to be able to pull out from their bag of tools, to be able to give you 1 or 2 detoxification methods, so that you're able to really utilize this body to be able to then move, build muscle, squish your organs, twist, fold forward, go upside down.
Going to actually have that conversation. That means, again, going by what you're saying, after you detoxify, you automatically will get a little more flexibility without even trying the first asana, because you would have taken that kind of toxicity out.
Yeah.
Because the muscles, everything would have suddenly started.
And also, would your breath not be more effortless?
More effortless?
Yeah. So the subtler the practice is, Shubhani, the more the transformation.
Sure.
If your transformations are at the level of the physical body, heavy breathing, shoulder stands, Surya Namaskars, 108 this, and handstands, and those
then they're ruining their knees and shoulders. The ones who are not doing it,
it
well.
doesn't
if
have
not
to.
done correctly,
It doesn't have to. It has to be given again in steps.
That's it.
Baby steps, even in asana. And so essentially, when your practices become subtler, then you enter the realm of the mind. And it's basically giving your body a place of feeling safe. Your breath has a rhythm, you cultivate rhythm. That rhythm comes when your breathing is effortless. When that breathing is effortless, and when you start to notice your body a little bit more, today versus yesterday, what is it that I ate? You will rely on all of those watches that you wear, which don't tell you that you've repaired well, or that sense of intuition is something that these new gadgets are taking away. It's a pet peeve, me and my husband have. Oh, so what does your watch say? Have you recovered well? Or what does your watch say? Have you slept enough?
Discerning eye.
You slept 8 hours straight. What does your watch say? You just learned to, those transformation are subtler. You are observing yourself, because essentially yoga is a practice that is born out of observation by the rishis and the siddhas, or the yogis. And so it was born out of observation of the human mind. And so coming back to the fact that what interests you in yoga is a good starting point, but explore before, after. If you're interested, if you're not interested in meditation, it's okay. You should be interested in the other gift that yoga gives you, which is ekagrat, to be able to be single pointed. I worked very hard to be able to find ekagrat. I was a very restless, impatient, and I'm beginning to think maybe there were traumas in my childhood that my parents and I didn't talk about till the word trauma came up.
Sure.
And so all of that had me constantly in an impatient mode. And yoga helped me build that, from a vikshipt, they call it, a heavily distracted mind, to a mind that could focus on whatever you put your attention to, even if it was something as simple as your child speaking to you and listening till the end.
Yes.
Or waiting for your partner to finish speaking before you're ready to bite his head off. So just building that ability. Even at a party, you will notice there'll be people who will speak to you, but they're not speaking to you. They're distracted. And you understand energies, and you say, I was there myself. Till I discovered, the potential of what yoga has ability to transform. That yoga, it just brought that out in me, that I'm very, very grateful for, and that's what I share with other people.
So you said keyword, I want to pick up on discipline. Let's understand, what does a day look like for you in terms of your daily yoga practice? What's the discipline planner / rubric that you have for yourself? And audience, we're not going to psych you, because I know Minnie's extremely diligent and disciplined when it comes to her yoga routine, but let's, for the benefit of the audience, understand Minnie.
So discipline is something that is again something that comes in the Yoga Sutras, which says Satu Dirgha Nairantarya, for a long period of time. Nairantarya, your yoga should be without any interruptions, and you should be able to have that sort of satkar asevito, that sort of unflinching love and joy towards your practice, and has to be done daily without interruptions for you to have drid bhumi, which means for you to be established in your practice. Why do I want to be established in my practice? Because of the results of the habits that, or the feelings that it leaves me with. For example, good habits beget good habits. The biochemistry of habits is such that the body cannot discern between a bad habit and a good habit. They're both habits and they both have a dopamine reward. Yes. But if you want to substitute a bad habit, what was my bad habit? Sleeping very late, reading, writing, and then waking up. I used to wake up only early when I was teaching a class. And I knew I had to change that because I had to seize the morning. And so when I started to so slowly introduce early mornings and the practices and the energy of the day in the mornings, that habit sublimated into that joy that I got from waking up in the mornings and practicing. My older habit started to like lose its grooves in me, because they call it samskaras. So a good habit pattern will always
dissipate that.
bring you to come back to that habit. So discipline has that reward, and that reward can be felt when you keep coming back. I fractured my foot 7 months ago, and a lot of my practices went for a toss. But I said, this is a good time for me to come back and have longer pranayama practices, because it was difficult for me to sit. Not be able to do asanas. I couldn't do my daily abhyas. And then again, knowing myself, knowing that I like to multitask. I like to be, I like for my hands to be in many pies at the same time, whether it's as a grahast in the kitchen, your vegetables, what's coming in, what are the children eating, their nutrition, my work, my energy when I teach a class, what am I teaching, how am I teaching the same thing in different ways, what am I bringing into class today, what is the subject, what am I turning their attention, my own practice. And then, in your 30s, you're going out a little bit more, you're traveling. Yes. So I, in my 30s, had this intuition that when perimenopause strikes, now of course perimenopause is much earlier.
Correct.
Because of the stress physiology of people's is such that that I knew that I had to make pranayam my companion. I had to move into something that I had not spent enough time doing, because yoga asanas by itself is such a sea. And to be able to teach and wake up for your very young kids, there was very little time for meditation and pranayam. And maybe that is what I was doing. It took me maybe more than a decade and a half to just get that tension out of my system, to be able to just slow down my breath, to be able to just be in my postures for a long period of time. I was maybe automatically prepared to go to the next krama, which is pranayam. Pranayam comes after asanas. Usually your body needs the preparation to be able to sit for breathing. And when I started to build that practice of 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, building it to 20 minutes of pranayam, putting my alarm earlier till I no longer needed an alarm, practicing pranayam before I left the house to teach a class. I think there's something to be said about the rewards of a discipline that keeps coming, keeps wanting you come back. It's like reaching out for your coffee. It's that same feeling of, it's uplifting. It's called a tapas. And tapas is that ability for you to be able to, it's like, it's an alchemy, to be able to purify your body in such a way with a little bit of friction to be able to raise your energy. Anything that raises your energy and picks your energy up is a form of tapas. To speak less, mitabhasha, is a form of tapas. To fast, mitahara, is a form of tapas. Pranayam is the param tapas, to be able to burn the cobwebs of the mind. Those, your mind is constantly holding impressions. To burn away the cobwebs of the mind, tatshiyate prakasha avaranam. Prakash is, you come to a place of prakash or luminosity, is tapas. So tapas and discipline, and to be able to do something that gives you that state of a higher energy, is something that cannot be separated. And the more you do it, the more you want it, till it becomes a way of life. So your question was, what is my typical daily routine?
Yes.
Is straight away to do a sun tratak. When the sun is on the horizon, I have to gaze at the sun for a few seconds, and if the sun is not there, just to be able to draw the curtains and let the light in. That sets my circadian rhythm, and it's really helped me with my sleep cycle, Shubhani. So that is and that's like also a form of prayerfulness. But the first thing, of course, is, touching the floor, saying your prayers, looking at the rising sun, saying your prayers to the sun that I've learned from my teacher. If I can, walk on the grass, to just take all of the electromagnetic from your feet, just walk on the grass bare feet, maybe stretch a little bit in the grass. I absolutely enjoy that. I love it. It changes the electromagnetic, charge that your body constantly holds with phones, and with the ions in the atmosphere, which are constantly negative. You need a little bit more of the negative ions versus the positive ions. So things like that. There's a little science behind it. There is Yogic Kriyas behind it. But the most important thing is, before I start my movement practices, I mean, you want to talk about drinking water or oiling, gel to the sun. You don't want to get into all of that now. You want to know, what do I do?
Basic.
Your mota.
Mota.
So after walking on the ground and having my feet on grass or mud, more the mud the better, is to be able to sit down in stillness, is just give my body in the morning hours, which are Vata hours. Vata means they're very mobile. The prana is stirring in nature. There is a lot of movement inside of your system. You're waking up your system. Your bowels are moving. Your lymph is moving, and that's the time when you want stillness.
And what are the morning hours, timeline wise?
Ideally around, if not a little bit before the sun rises.
So 4:35ish or no?
Those are Brahma Muhurtas, which are beautiful, which are for meditative practices.
Okay.
But I'm literally talking about when the sun comes up.
Okay.
So around 5:30ish.
6ish.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Just sitting down in stillness. 5:30, 6, before the house wakes up.
Before we continue, when you just were talking about the ions, as soon as you touch your feet, it's so funny because I didn't even know that. Whenever I feel tired, I want to lie down on the ground, with every part of my back, whether it's the back of my legs, back of my thighs, back of my shoulders, and back of my hands. It almost feels like the earth is sucking something out of me and just rejuvenating me.
You know why? Because we crave stillness. It's our inherent nature. Which is why sitting in stillness is like coming home.
Yeah.
This is our inherent nature.
Yeah.
And so which is why, and that's my stillness. That's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, depending on what time I'm teaching my first class. And then it has to be 2 mudras. People may not know this, but the shoulder stands and headstands are such powerful asanas that they're not even in the asana category. They're actually mudras because they're so powerful.
Right.
So I get into a little bit of, now of course I don't need to do my shoulder rotations, neck rotations, but I wouldn't advise people to go into a headstand on a cold body. Over time I have more flexibility, so I can go straight into a headstand. I stay in my headstand. These are categories of asanas which were meant to be vaset, means they're somatic categories, were meant to be held for longer and longer and longer and longer. You can't stay in Trikonasana, triangle pose, or a family of Trikonasana for 5 minutes, 6 minutes. It's unnecessary. You just need 7, 8, 9 breaths and then you're ready to go to the other side. But there are some categories of asanas, the headstand, the shoulder stand, seated forward folds.
Yeah.
They are like balm to the nervous system.
Oh my God, that's seated forward fold.
Seated forward folds.
It's
Also
like,
emotionally, they are like
releases.
Yes.
Such a release.
That is why Yin Yoga uses them so much, because it's working on the level of your fascia. So headstand, shoulder stand, game changer. Looking at the sun in the morning, game changer.
I began this just recently.
What amazing sleep you get at night. And you build a relationship to the sun.
Last night, just because I guess, my mind was ticking, was overstimulated, I don't know. I just was thinking about different things. What I'm saying...
story of all our lives.
But it's so funny, Minnie, that in the morning, I was just telling him that, at 6:30, I just, I was up, I was messaging or whatever, not messaging at that time, but yeah, maybe I was. I should be honest about that. But before messaging...
Guilty.
Yeah, I just went and stood out, and I've now started doing this, just look at the sun.
Yeah.
That headache, that remnant headache, it just disappeared.
Yeah.
Because it almost was like my body understood it doesn't matter if you had lack of sleep the night before, but the sun is up, freshen up.
Yeah.
I thought that was, I've never felt that.
And most other times, people find the morning sun a distraction or a nuisance. Pull the covers over your head and sleep.
Yeah.
And maybe I was there too in my 20s. Pull the covers over. Oh, do I have enough blackout? Now we sleep with our curtains open and we invite the sun into our mornings.
So true.
And so it's basically, and now Huberman talks about circadian rhythm and talks about looking at the sun. These were old sun practices that were given to us.
I sometimes feel even the eyesight gets corrected a bit. Because then when I don't know.
100%.
It does?
I know somebody, she said her father and her grandmother, actually I think maybe it was, I won't take the name, and she said that she was given this practice of looking at the morning sun. And when I say morning sun, it shouldn't have gone up too high because then it blinds. It'll hurt the retina.
Yeah.
The time when it's just on the horizon, if you're in a building, go up to your terrace, find that lovely spot where you can catch the morning sun. And you start to notice, Punya, Uttarayan, Dakshina, those times when the sun moves in the summer, then it comes back in the winter, and then the sun is starting to rise 2 minutes later, 1 minute later every day, and then what is it doing to your mood? So it really affects that HPA axis now that they call it. So that is, so what I'm trying to say is that yoga can be simple. Simpler practices are more potent. It doesn't have to be complicated. And then a Jalneti. If I don't do a Jalneti, I would definitely do a Nasyam. There is something about taking care of your nose because it's the nerves of the nose are so close to your head. If not a Kapalbhati, which is around the nose, it's a Nasyam. I'm always fidgeting with practices of the nose. I love it. Because you can, eyes and nose are the closest to your brain. And if you want to make any
and all the stimuli
nourishing
really
to the brain, anything nourishing, you find a practice which is about the nose or the eyes. So what works for me is a Nasyam. I have this little table I was set up. I have a Nasyam oil there. I have tissues for Kapalbhati. I have a meditation seat. And I can literally crawl out of my bed into that spot. And what does that do to me as a person? I realized that, first of all, there is more grace under pressure. It's helped my relationship with not only myself, but with whoever, my father or someone I didn't like, or with people who, try your patience. I work with so many women. It's just helped me build my that pause between reaction, that little space before you react. It's built my sense of
that's a whole life.
Awareness.
That pause is actually your whole life.
Isn't it?
The quality of your life depends on that pause.
Really.
So that's
really,
fantastic.
yoga's been my coach.
So Minnie, since you said how yoga is really the science of the mind and not really of the body is just a vehicle. With being a yoga practitioner, one of the best that we have, you must have trained your mind to a phenomenal level, and with that whole mind training as a parent, you would, I'm sure, conduct yourself with so much calm and composure dealing with kids, which definitely raises the quality of kids that as a parent you raise. And I have seen you as as a client, when I was mentoring your daughter, there was so much poise and calm and composure as a parent that you brought in. There were never encounters or meetings where I could see conflicts happening between the child and the parent. You were always mostly on the same page. So let's understand from you, as through the science of yoga and having trained your mind, how has it made you a better parent and your relationship with your kids, etc.?
And I believe you have very kind children. So we would love to know that how did you raise such beautiful, kind children?
Extremely, like I've met two of them, and
Thank you.
I completely second what Shubhani said.
No, thank you. Which doesn't mean that I shy away from being stern. I think I would call myself a semi-strict parent, but there is some predictability about my strictness. It's not, I try not to be, there's no, so the children pick up on hypocrisy, or they pick up on, you don't practice this, therefore how can you preach this? So I think it starts with, cleaning up your own home, and there will always be conflicts with children, and you'll always tell them, give them their boundaries. But I think that what I would tell a lot of the younger mothers is parent with example. If you are on the dining table with your kids and you get sucked into that very important message that needs to go right now, your child will do that to you, and they're watching their sponges, and they will do exactly the same thing when it comes to, one day, they'll do the same thing and there'll be phones on the table. So
they're learning by example, exactly.
But on the other hand, there are no strict rules in my house, no phones on the dining table, or strict rules like, it's not a Hitler home. It is a home which has parents waking up early, some sort of discipline, some sort of awareness to what they're eating, and so children are picking up on things like that. They are watching you speak to your staff. They are hearing you when you're speaking about someone else without being mindful. So I think because yoga teaches us to be mindful and it teaches us to be present, I am very much present in my speech, in my even in the fun and games, as to what if I'm leading by example or not. And I cannot fake it. If I'm feeling irritated, I will retract, maybe not surface in the morning, do my little abhyas, spread my mat, or just do some puja or something. And there's so many times that challenges, duress, life situations happen, and they have happened, and around our growing up kids. How have we dealt with it? Have we shunned the kids? Have we involved the kids? Conversation wise, I just feel that parenting is a science that starts from yourself. You have to continuously fill that reservoir to be able to nourish someone else. There's a lovely prayer. It's part of the prayer it's also a peace chant, a Shanti mantra. That prayer is Swasti no Indro Vridhrashravaha Swasti no Pusha Vishwavedaha Swasti Nakstarkshvarishtanemi Swasti no Prahaspatir Dadatu. Basically saying, may I be able to take care of my limbs, may I be able to take care of my body, may I be able to nourish my senses, to be able to be of to be able to do God's work, to be able to be service to others. So I always tell people who, in practice, that if you're not able to take care of yourself, how are you going to be able to take care of, what are the words that are going to come out? It's going to have an emotional nuance to it when you speak to somebody when you're stressed, or your children. So just to be able to basically use the practices I get told that a lot by teachers. I get told that by friends. When Karthikeya became head boy, I think he made it through the interview. Wasn't much of a debater, wasn't out there, but he was just, he used to say, Mama, people debate, and how am I going to pull it off? But I feel it in my heart that this is what I want to do. I want to go for head boy. So I said, not house captain, no, head boy. So I said, okay. And he's not an ambitious overachiever,
Yes.
but he was very clear
That what he
that
wanted.
he has it. So I had to remind him of his strengths, which he knew, is to be able to hear the softest voice in the room, to be able to make everyone feel heard. And he won by a huge margin because many of the kids voted for him, just with his kindness, his ability to interact. And these are, I think, yogic. I guess there are yogic qualities.
Yes, because it takes
Pressure under, a grace under pressure, or sorry.
No, I say it takes another level of understanding to listen to people, hear them, and what you just said, that it's the softest voice you've got to also listen to. So, which a lot of people in this day and age are not so interested in listening to others. They're more interested in listening to their own voice being spoken.
Perhaps.
And
to be wanting to prove yourself all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
And
he's a no. Yeah.
So that is the other thing. He can listen because he's been given enough self-awareness purely because of your parenting. And that gives him that kindness.
There was a stage where he was ready to learn mantras, and he still does. Devika, Gayatri, Karthikeya, they love their mantras. They've taken away little pieces of yoga.
Yeah.
And I've looked for that right moment to give them what they need at that time. And I wait for that, like an eagle. I wait for that
when
moment.
that little flower opens,
when
and you quickly put that drop.
Receiving.
Yes.
So if you think that your child's going to be interested in yoga just because you are,
no
way. You have to wait for that window.
Yeah.
So true.
Maybe a vulnerability, I don't know. And those are some life skills, Punya. Yoga is life skills, really.
Absolutely. The way you've put it, it's training your mind, and you need to train mind to live life in today's Kali Yuga. So absolutely.
That whole power of now is that so present that she can pick up when
I'm not such a great mom. I mean,
enough.
I just felt that this would help them when they're all alone in that college somewhere, and they're having, mommy's not there and daddy's not there and it's not home.
Yeah.
I feel like there are ways you can use your physical body to be able to calm your emotional body.
Right.
Jumping from parenthood into aging so gracefully. We look at you and we all want to imbibe what you're doing. A little bit of an insight on that what really has yoga taught you to age gracefully? What do you think women are doing which is incorrect so that they could age gracefully? And the last one, that during that menopause, what should women really be concentrating on? So it's a three-pronged question.
Yeah.
But it just
I'll
covers
start
up the
with
whole...
saying that according to Ayurveda and yoga, we have these avasthas in our life. There's a madhya avastha, which is in the middle ages, even for men. Mm-hmm. And then there is the vriddha avastha, which is the ages after 50. So it's what you do in your middle ages that decides the quality of your vriddha avastha. It's what you put under the carpet in your 30s and your 20s that shows up its ugly face in menopause.
Yeah.
So which is why I said I needed at that time, with the stress in my life, in my 30s, that I was going to hit this wall full speed. And I started to bring in what I didn't necessarily enjoy at that time. Your mind fights back when you do internal practices.
Yes.
There is resistance. It's not fun in the beginning. But you have to know the goal. It's like my teacher says, in the high seas, if the sailor doesn't know which port he's sailing to, no wind will be favorable. You'll just keep going along with the wind and you'll never reach your destination. So to know why you practice yoga, to be able to know the goal and the reason why you're doing it. For me, it was, my mind will go crazy. I'll go mad. I'll go crazy if I carry on like this.
But the awareness of
the
that
30s,
is
that,
so amazing.
that this is not my best self. I can do better. I can speak better. I can feel better. I can fall less sick. And then the second thing I would say, Shubhani, is the idea of subtraction is something that we should all be looking at. We're always adding the creatine or whatever it's called. Nothing wrong with supplements, but adding doesn't necessarily mean it's better. We have to learn to subtract what we cannot assimilate, to be able to make our life a little bit simpler.
Organically, Minnie, I did feel that, we were taught again in that the avastha, Vridha avastha, that one should have simpler foods. And I never used to understand that when we were younger. I said, what's the big deal? Okay, cut down on the portion or whatever. But now I understand it, having been through menopause, how important simple food is to keep yourself aligned,
and you know
calm.
why? Because you are telling yourself that this is what I think I can digest right now.
That's it. And otherwise,
like
you
they
do
say,
feel
when you're stressed,
indigestion.
You shouldn't eat. Like they say, because it's not going to sit in your body. We always tell our children, don't speak on the phone and eat. It's not going to sit. It's not going to go in. It's not going to nourish your tissues. So that, and then Vridha avastha is also, we're meant to be, the definition of a human body is to be juicy, is to be unctuous, is to be oily. Our brain is oil. We are meant to be oily. And when we dry up because of stress, and that heat fans the body and we dry up, nails brittle, hair brittle, skin, that is aging faster biologically. So yoga gives us juicier nourishment, like nourish yourself so you stay unctuous, you stay juicy. That is one of the definitions of a human body. So Vridha avastha is our vata stage, where there's degeneration gets amplified. It hastens up. The body will degenerate. That's just how. But in the Vridha avastha, it'll degenerate fast. Now, do you want to degenerate faster, or do you want to degenerate with nourishing practices? For example,
hot flashes, please give us some kind of, all of us, I'm sure most of our audience is going through some sort of a hot flash. What is the best yoga mudra or asana which we can, start at least practicing? So that we are not just fanning ourselves all the time.
Hot flashes is usually high cortisol in the system that has stayed like an overstaying guest. It was nice when you came, but now you've overstayed. Now it's time for you to leave. But we don't have the tools to make it leave. Your adrenal gland is tired because it's constantly, you have so many estrogen producing cells in your body. It doesn't only have to be the ovaries, but because we have so much cortisol and high stress in the bodies, we just have to learn to reduce our stress overload. A simple thing that I'll say is your quality of your anulom vilom. Longer exhales, longer, how should I say, longer pauses after the exhale, longer ratios, 1:2:4, longer exhalation, more parasympathetic nervous system nurturing. When I say nourishment, it's parasympathetic nervous system. So you have the right amount of cortisol, and that cortisol comes back, and you're ready to, perhaps bring balance in your hormone system.
Makes so much sense.
Absolutely. So now we come to our favorite segment of the podcast, which is Behind Closed Doors. We are going to be asking some really fun questions to Minnie, and let's see what comes out of the conversation. So, Shubhani, you want to go first?
Sure. You're going first or should I go first? I'm going to be asking
so I'll go first.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask some questions. So, Minnie, the first question to you is, what's something people assume about yoga teachers that's completely untrue?
That yoga teachers are yogis from another planet.
They're very much on earth. Okay. So, what's the most un-yogic habit that Minnie has?
I take it all in my stride. I force my husband to remind me on Saturdays that don't forget to give me that glass of wine. And some Saturdays he says, so it's Saturday. It's a way for me to say that the weekend has come and that I can
be a little un-yogic.
And even, I want to think about whether I want to say that or not.
So, Minnie, if you were not a yoga practitioner or a yoga teacher, and maybe not even a shooter, what would you be doing for a living?
I think I'd be a sports psychologist, if not an interior designer.
Oh my God, 100%. 100. There's a stamp.
I love
interiors. There's a career waiting to be discovered.
So, we'd love to see Minnie as a sports psychologist and or an interior designer in a different realm. Yeah. Okay. What's something that your children taught you that yoga never could?
They taught me it's different strokes for different folks. And because my 3 kids are just all, their personalities are so distinct and unique that different tools.
Okay. And my last question to you before Shubhani takes over. If your son had to imitate you for 30 seconds, what would he do?
Oh, so mean! I wish he was here.
Or one word to describe you. What would he describe you as? Whichever one you want to.
Yeah.
He would.
Shubhani's being kinder.
Yeah, I am being kind.
Have you eaten all your colors?
That's so neat.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I can imagine Karthik is saying that. Okay, over to Shubhani.
Now slightly deeper but still rapid fire. I'm just going to say a word.
Punya's is rather deep too.
That's true. Okay, so peace is a word.
A place you always knew and forgot that you should revisit more often.
The most underrated thing for happiness is?
I think celebrating nature as an extension of yourself.
Fantastic. Marriages?
Designed to reflect who you are or what you are right at your face.
Truly.
I don't think that I can revisit that.
That was a good answer, yeah.
But that is a very good answer.
You think? Okay.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Because it is true. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what is the most overrated thing? And the last one. What does unconditional love and kindness mean to you?
What does unconditional
love and kindness mean to you?
Currently, the stage I'm at is to be able to take care of an ailing parent.
Yes.
It's a privilege, and I'm so happy that I am able to take care of my parent. It's unconditional. It's love,
so
and
much
kindness.
Love and kindness.
And it requires patience and everything your parents were with you. Back to them.
Minnie, thank you so much for today. Today we have taken a journey of a young Minnie, the shooter Minnie, the yogic Minnie, the parent Minnie, the daughter Minnie, the wife Minnie, and with such beautiful insights that we literally I can't believe where the time has gone by. thank you again so much for accepting our invitation.
It was wonderful being here.
Coming here.
With you both.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Thanks.
Minnie. So, guys, we saw today that we had a yogic in the house, and I could feel the energy. I could feel the subtraction of toxins coming out from my body, and I hope you liked today's podcast. If you did take even 1 point from that podcast, please don't hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Instagram, kinandkindness_podcast. Follow us on YouTube. Kin and Kindness is our YouTube channel. Follow us on Spotify, Kin and Kindness, and we will be back with you very soon.